What is up, guys? This is Art Stricken again. Today, I'm going to be doing a video on Trinity Prime. Not just only Trinity Prime, but the Trinity built for the Eidolon. I see a lot of people bringing in Trinity, but they don't use her correctly, or don't have the right build, or not quite sure what her role is. And that's pretty much what I want to go over today, because I love playing the Eidolon or a Terrorist Hunt, but I need to make sure, you guys need to make sure that when you're using Trinity, you're using Trinity to her full potential to help out the entire group. So you're getting all three of those Eidolon kills or captures, so you can gain more of those arcanes, those precious, precious arcanes. My precious. Alright, so basically what I'm going to go ahead and show you guys is the build real quick, and I'll go over what her abilities are. So pretty much what we're working with is Rejuvenation for the aura for health. It's team health. Health is a big thing. The shields will always recharge by themselves, but you're really working with mostly health. Now, for an Exilus spot, you can pretty much use anything you want. I prefer Collection Drift. As you can see, it's not fully maxed out. It's because I have 0 Pharma on my Trinity, and I'm left over with 3 capacity, which is actually really good. She's viable like right off the bat as soon as you get her, which is really nice. So obviously I'm going to keep on Vitality and Redirection for shield and health. I'm going to have on Flow and Continuity, primed versions for the people who have them. And then the duration mods like Augur Message and Constitution, prime continuity. And then I'm just going to add on just a little bit of Streamline, a little bit of Strength. Now it's not going to matter too much. This is just how I'm going to run it. Now, when it comes to arcanes, you pretty much play with whatever you want. For an Eidolon hunt, I prefer Arcane Nullifier. Basically, what this does is it's going to give you a percentage chance to resist magnetic damage. Eidolons actually do magnetic damage. They get rid of all that energy if you don't have a hero. It's super annoying. If you can prevent that, then, or some percentage of that, it's better than nothing. And then Guardian just for the armor, considering she has a 15 armor rating. Oh my gosh, that's so low. I think that's like the lowest out of all Warframes, which is funny since she's supposed to be the one that gives everybody life. Now, what this is built for, and that's super annoying. I'm going to kill these enemies real quick, and I'm going to go back to that. No. Kill. Stop. Be quiet. Nobody asked you. Alright. Now, when it comes to her abilities, basically what you're using is the Blessing ability. Now, basically, this is going to restore health and shields of allies within Trinity's Affinity Aura while giving them some damage resistance. This is very good. Basically, what you're going to be doing is you're going to spam Blessing unless the Chroma in the group, for instance, doesn't need it. Now, for a Chroma, for those of you who don't have him yet or haven't played with him, if you do self-damage, and I do have a Chroma build for the Eidolon Hunt, once you do Vexing Armor, which is, I believe, the 3rd ability for Chroma, as you get damage taken to you, or you do self-damage, I personally use the Prisma Engstrom, you're going to have to get through the shield. When you do damage to the shields, it gives you your armor. When you do damage to health, it's going to give you fury, and that's what gives Chroma his ability to deal a lot of damage killing those Eidolon. So if you're spamming Blessing and they can't do enough damage to their health, they're never going to get their boosts up. So you need to coordinate with the Chroma. The second thing that Trinity really, really needs to do is they need to know how many lures for which Eidolon are needed, and then you're going to have to charge them up. Now, basically what that means is you go find a lure, you kill it, you hack into it, and then it will now follow you. One key thing, do not reload your weapons. When you reload your weapons, it's the same button to have your lures stop following you and hold position. You do not want to do that. It is a big issue I see all the time. The other issue that I see is once you get the lures and you bring them over, you don't charge them up. You have to charge them up. They'll start glowing blue, kind of like the picture in Link for the ability for Trinity. It almost looks like that, but it's on the lures. Now, after that, and as long as you talk to your Chroma, you need to keep on doing the Blessing. You want to keep your lures alive. For the first one, it's going to take, usually for the first Eidolon, it takes 1 lure to keep him in place so that he doesn't teleport away, but it takes 2 lures to capture him. So if you only have 1 charged up, it will kill the Eidolon and you won't be able to go on to the tier 2 or tier 3. Now, the other things that you can use is Link and Energy Vampire. Very rarely do I do Well of Life, but you can. And since this build is geared towards Blessing, it actually works well for the entirety of Trinity's build. So usually Link and Blessing is what I do. I try and do Energy Vampire, but those bomblets are really small and hard to get. So at the very least, throw down an Energy Pad once in a while to help out the team if everybody's taking a hit. Now, the weapons are going to just matter. It's not going to matter too much. I apologize, you guys can hear my dogs in the back. I think they're playing. But basically what you're doing is you're taking out, what you need to do is you need to take out the Vombless. And the Vombless will take off their shielding, and then they'll turn into their blue, glowy ghost form, and I call it the corporeal form. And then those versions will turn into little bitty energy balls and float into the lures. Once the lure is filled up and glows blue, they will no longer jump in there, so you're going to have to kill them with your Tenno. And I do have an Operator and Amp build. I hope you guys check that out. Now, since you're taking out the Vombless, this is your primary job. Not taking out the Eidolon, but making sure that your team is alive and that you're taking out the Vombless. Now, there's another thing that you guys might not have realized. Once you get to the very last Eidolon, I think it's like the Gonchulus, the green one, at the very end, the tier 3, you're going to see Vombless in this purple or like pink, depending on what color contrast you have in your TV. Kind of like portals that what Limbo has, like a rift almost. They're a little bit bigger, but you're going to have to kill they're called blooms, or that's the short terminology. And what the blooms do is as the Vombless go in there and get attached to the blooms, it's going to regenerate the shield on that Terrorless, and you have to kill those blooms. Those are priority. And then killing the Vombless after you have your lures all filled up. I'm going to have to do a faster frame on this guy. So basically what I'm going to do is I'm just going to show you guys, I'm just going to work with just generic level 100 enemies, which are pretty strong for most people, pretty much sortie viable. I'm not going to pause the enemies. I'm not going to go invincible because what's the point? Because I got Trinity. Now, let's go ahead and pull these guys out. Now, the first thing that I usually like to do if you're playing on any mission is Link. Link is actually super important. Once you do Link, you can go ahead and use your Blessing once you lose health. But it's not going to... Your Link is going to keep you safe. It's going to distribute some of the damage you take to the enemies that it has linked to. And then when you start to run out of energy, you can just go ahead and do Energy Vampire. And Link again. If you saw real quick, I lost quite a bit of health as soon as Link went out. And then Blessing, I'm just kind of go ahead and... I mean, I could sit here all day and just use Blessing without any other abilities. And I'll show you guys that. Since Blessing is the primary ability that you're using. Let's go. You know what? I'm not even going to kill this enemies. I'm just going to make more. You know what? Let's make even more. Alright. Go ahead and run in here. Yeah. So if you just spam Blessing... Okay, this might have been too many enemies. Let me at least use Link. Alright, let me use Link real quick. There we go. And then I'm just going to go ahead and spam Blessing as it take damage from all these enemies. Now, one good thing to have in the Exodus mod spot, if you don't want to use code... I forget what it's called. Co-reaction drill. It's actually Handspring, is what I would suggest. Those of you who don't know, Handspring is an amazing mod when it comes to being knocked down. Handspring is 100% faster knockdown recovery. Basically what this means is as you get knocked down, you're immediately right back up. If you want to see what it really looks like, I would say check out my Wukong Defy build. And I know Wukong is super boring, but he does have Defy, which makes him last forever. And it's actually a very low form of build for him as well. So go ahead and check that out as well. That would be the other one that I would swap out instead of coaxium drift. Man, I know I said that wrong. Don't make fun of me. It is what it is. But this is the build for the Trinity Eidolon Blessing build. And like I said, the weapons are going to be... I'd really do something that's good to strip their armor. Maybe like an Archiplasmor, or I don't know. Actually, an Archiplasmor would probably be your best bet. I mean, you can always do the comb, but since you're doing damage mostly to the Vombless, you'd probably prefer to have the Archiplasmor. If you don't have that, maybe some other kind of energy weapon. The new cores actually is made really well for it. Let's see here. The other thing that most people don't know is now the Zenostar. When you build the Zenostar, the disc portion of the Zenostar, not all mods will actually affect it. And I made a video for that describing or telling you why stuff like Condition Overload and Berserker don't work for the Zenostar's disc portion, which is really important. So a cool thing to use while you're doing the Eidolon hunt is going to be the Zenostar. If you throw the Zenostar's disc portion out while you're fighting the Eidolon, as long as you mod it with the correct elemental damage, it's going to strip the armor off of the Eidolon, or the Terrorless, not the Terrorless, the Vombless. And as you rip that off, then you only have to deal with the corporeal form, which is really, really nice. Now, if you really, really want, you could probably take off your Intensify, your Strength mod, and throw on a Vampire Augment as well for more energy. That would probably be a good one to do. The only downfall with this build is since the duration is pretty high, and it's meant for like a combination of Blessing and Link, since you can continuously spawn Blessing. The Energy Vampire doesn't work, which is really super annoying, and I hope DE changes that so that it can be like a 2 ability build instead of more of like a weird hybrid meant for Blessing. That way you can spam Energy Vampire more than just once. But as you can see, she can be pretty beefy. Link is always a good one to use. Like I already said, geez, man, what a steamroller. Alright. That is way too many enemies. I'm not really killing them, just trying to show the survivability. Let's go ahead and kill these. Stop making all that noise. Now, as always, go ahead and hit a like and subscribe button. If you guys found this interesting or helpful, I hope it was more helpful. If you guys have any questions or comments, please let me know in the comments box. But more, I'm looking for suggestions on videos or weapons that you guys use in day-to-day life that you're like, oh, what's a more viable or neutral generic build, something that works for all aspects instead of building very, very specifically to one thing. If you want something unique like that, there is a whole bunch of them all over YouTube. One of my favorites is an Equinox build for his first ability, which is, what is it? Duality, I think? I can't remember. Anyways, you guys have a good one out there, and be safe.